This is Roni, and this is a SNL Saturday Stash Dive. And my partner today is Robin, who is Robin's Nursing Journey here on YouTube. And we're going to feature today washi tape and brads. A couple of things we both had in our stash and don't use often enough. I try really hard to remember to use it, but since it's over on the shelf in a plastic container, well, both things are, my brads and my washi tape, I have a hard time remembering. And there's my brads, yeah. I do have quite a few and don't use them near often enough. But I am going to use them today. And I'm going to do a layout. And the paper is a seen and noted paper. I got it from Lisa, who is Maggie Milo. And that's the SNL stands for Sandra and Lisa. So Lisa had gave it to me a while back, and I was kind of hoarding it. And I used some of it, and I kept thinking, man, I really love this. And so I was saving it for something. And when I was looking at my washi tape, I thought, well, I think it'll match that paper. And it does perfectly. So that's what I'm using. And as you've seen, it was scraps because I don't really have any whole pieces left. But the scraps work out great. And here I made a border. I used a round circle and I drew a line first on the back of my washi tape. I put the washi tape on a piece of cardstock, and I took that circle and went all the way down that line and made my scallops for my border because I didn't have a border punch like that and was wanting a border made like that. So I just made my own border with the circles and fussy cut it out. And these cards that I'm going to use is also from the Seen and Noted that Lisa gave me. And the picture tells the story here. My picture, you can see it laying over there on the right-hand side, is of my granddaughters. And they had lost their two front teeth, both of them. And I thought, man, I need to get a picture of that so I can do a scrapbook page. Well, the picture tells a story. One of them, the one on the right, you can see where she don't have no teeth, but the other one took her fingers and pulled her mouth apart, and you cannot see where her teeth are missing. And me, I just took the camera, snapped the picture, didn't really even look, and it wasn't until much later, like months, before I got my pictures developed, and I was wondering where that picture was, because I kept planning on, doing a layout. Then I realized it was that one, and you couldn't see where she didn't have teeth. So I didn't do a very good job of taking the picture either. So the picture tells a story about me not doing a good job. And she was trying really hard to do a good job. She thought she was really showing off having no teeth. But I thought that was still a cute picture, so I was going to scrapbook it. It's kind of old. They're older now. It's been a while since I took it. And I just hadn't got it developed. I seen it on there and knew which one it was and everything. And I thought, I'm going to go ahead and get it developed and do a layout. And in my journaling, which I don't do it on the layout today, I have got a teal Smashbook pen that I think will go great. But I'm not sure where it's at. It's probably in a bag that I used on a trip and took my Smashbook with me. It's probably down in the bottom of that's what I'm thinking. But I couldn't find it when I was doing the layout. Well, I didn't look for it yet. But it wasn't in my scrappy stuff anyway. But that's what I'm going to do my journaling with, and I'm going to put on there the story about how horrible I was at taking the picture. And there, as you can see, there's my washi border. And this is when I decided that and you might have missed it. I had white paper that was color block, and I decided it was way too white. So I dug through my stash, and this is a less white paper. It's not actually a tan or anything. It's just less white. And it matches that card that the story, every picture has a story. And I did dress it up with some washi tape. And I decided here that I was going to make some lines, and this is that little triangle roller stamp, and I thought I'd use the same colors that was in my paper, and it's peacock, the stress ink, peacock, let's see, and the mementos are daffodil and ladybug, I believe. and they went great with the paper and the washi. Everything went so well together. I was really surprised since they didn't come together, any of it. And I did cut down both of those cards because I thought they were too big to use both of them on my layout at full size, so I thought I'd cut them down and use them smaller. And here I'm just backing this with some of the chevron teal colored paper that was in there. And like I said, it's scraps, so if it had a name, I cut that off a long time ago. And as you see, I have a little problem getting it straight on there. But you need to check out the group on Facebook. There's Crafting for Supplies group, and even if you don't do YouTube, you could do the group, and sometimes there's challenges on the group, and all you have to do is post your layouts. And of course you can post your layouts every day. Anytime you do a layout, you can post it in the group, and I'll leave a link below so you can check that out. And then there's a SNL fan book page. I'll leave the link for that too, and the SNL Design website, and check all of them out. And I will also leave a link for Robin's channel, because Robin's doing the challenge with me today, and I use the border strip right there, and I'm sure she'll have something fantastic planned with her washi tape and her brads. Both things were her idea, so I'm sure she's got something really good planned. But I've been planning on using some more washi anyway. I hadn't thought about my brads, but I really do need to use them more. And I end up using them today kind of like enamel dots. I use them the same way I would have used enamel dots if I was using enamel dots, and put them on my page that way. Trying to get all this straight. And I wanted another longer piece. I started to use that shorter piece of red on the right, and then I decided I wanted it longer, and that was the longest piece I had, and I wanted to use some yellow too, so I'm going to do some piecing together, and there's going to be like a little gap behind the border so that I can have a yellow that's a little bit longer too. And of course I gotta do some fussy cutting. Can't have a layout without some kind of fussy cutting, if only to make it pop a little bit more on my arrow. And I think this is when I decided I want that yellow. Yes. And so I had to make 2 strips. As you can see, it's not a very big piece, so I had to make 2 strips and make sure they were the same size so that I could continue down behind the border, and it looked like one longer piece running all the way through there. And I didn't want to make it with the fishtail, so I had to go find my corner rounder. I had to end up getting my older one. I thought, what did I do with that? And I forgot I helped the girls make cards, and we used the corner rounder, so it was with their stuff. I did find it because it kept bugging me because I couldn't find it. But I did have an old Creative Memory ones that don't cut the greatest because it is older, but it does cut. And here I'm using 2 different markers. I have a light blue one, and then I have a green one, and I'm going over, I did the light blue first, and then I'm going over the top with the darker with the green, and so it looks more teal and matches everything else, because neither one matched, and that was the only 2 colors I had. Of course, if I could have found my smash pen, that would have worked. That would have worked great. And I was trying to decide which thickers to use here. Thought I'd better go ahead and lay this down because, of course, it hadn't been yet. And so I know where to put my title at. My title is going to be Something's Missing. Something is Missing. And the things that's missing is a good shot with the camera. And, of course, you can't see her teeth. And Charlie don't have two front teeth. Well, neither one do. So it's missing all the way around. I got problems all the way around with something missing. And I don't notice how crooked that is at first, but I will straighten it. But it is a little bit crooked. And I finally decided on that thicker, and goodness knows I don't remember what the name of it is, because I did this layout last week and just did not get the time to do the voiceover. But it is a thicker. And then the missing, I'll do it with, I believe it's jelly bean soup. And I think that's like tomato colored. I think it said tomato on there. And this is probably when I decided that I needed to took my little roller thing and gone up there with it. So here I'm going to have to pull all my ink out. And I'm putting the brads on first. And I'm pulling out different sizes. And at first I just pull the teal and the yellow out because they're the two colors that match. And then I got thinking, I gotta have some kind of red. So I'll end up going back in and pulling some red out. And the only red that I really had that went is hearts. But they look cute with the hearts. So I have 2 circle brads and 1 heart brad in each cluster. And I was kind of glad that they were hearts after I found them, because I just love that picture now. But when I first seen it, I was like, oh my goodness. And of course their teeth had already started going out, so I didn't have the shot that I was wanting. But I like this one anyway. It tells more of a story. And then, yeah, this is when I said I need a little bit over there, so I have to just kind of work around that because I put the brads down. Of course, I could have pulled the brads up and then pulled it back up, put the ink down, but I thought I can work around it. And I didn't have no sprays or anything that matched, so I put some water in a cup and got my brush really wet and brushed it on the ink pad so I could flick some color on there. And so I do it with each one of them. And the yellow I did last because I thought, well, it'd lay on top of the other 2 colors maybe. But I had to work a little harder to get the yellow to show up. So I had to put a little more ink, a little more water. And it finally gets where it's showing up on there. And let's see, I think this is about it. Oh, I put a couple stickers on there, and they're my mind's eye. And one's something about smiles this way, and the other one has a heart. And I can't remember what it says. You'll see it in the close-ups later, though. And, I've been making cards like crazy lately because I didn't have enough in my stash, enough to pick from, and I wanted, like, certain ones for certain people. And I only had a couple, so I made a bunch. But I used to make cards at the end of my layouts because I'd have everything out, and I'd have scraps there, and everything that I was already working with, and I'd make 1 or 2 cards. And so I thought, I'm going to try to remember to do that. So here I am making 2 4x6. Let's see, it's just the A2 size card, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and they're top folding. So I put some ink on there. And if I'd been thinking, I would have done the inside while I had that roller out and the ink out on the front, and just done the inside to match. But I was just thinking about putting some smaller hexagons in the back on the inside, and so I did not think about putting ink. But this is from the same this is the washi tape that I put on that cardstock earlier, and I punched out hexagons. And the ones on the right, I just trimmed around the ones that's on the left. I used my scraps from the ones on the left, and then I punched out smaller ones to go on the inside, so I have the outside border and on the inside. and it's thinking of you stamp. And here's when I said, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put some ink on the inside. Goes a little extra work and put it on there too. And because I started to put the hex on, I was like, it'll match even more if I put a little bit of ink on here. So that's what I'm doing. 2 quick and easy cards. Didn't take long at all to do because I had everything out and could go straight from my layout into making a couple of cards, and they'll be in my stash and be ready. Anyway, I want to thank you all so much for watching and joining in on the Saturday Stash Dive. Boy, it seems so long since I got to do one. I did one back there in June, and then July was just all booked up. And so I had to wait all the way to August to do another one. And I have a lot of fun doing them because I end up using something I wouldn't normally use. And I'm getting something out of my stash that needs to be used. And I get to do it with a partner. And we both use the same thing and come up with something different. So check out Robin's channel and see what she did today with her things from the dive, and see how she used her washi tape and her brads. Mine, I used it to make a border and some punches, my washi tape, and I used my brads like enamel dots. And there's my second card. I think that was my second card. I was busy talking. I wasn't paying attention. That was my first card. And then the second card's coming up. And, well, actually, it was my first because I punched these first. And then, like I said, I cut around what was left of these to make the border-looking part on the other one. And this is the inside close-up. But thanks so much for watching. And like I said, I'll leave some links below so you can check everything out. Bye!